of that superannuation, $600 billion is actually invested offshore. Now, what's interesting about that is in 1990, Bob Hawke came out and said that the money raised by superannuation would be invested right here in Australia. Well, according to the latest numbers, and I should qualify that, that's pre-COVID, over 20% of the money invested in superannuation is actually invested offshore. Imagine the number of jobs we could create here. Imagine the number of dams, the number of the amount of high-speed rail we could build. But wait, that's not all. The number of people actually retiring with a mortgage has increased from 40% to 70%. Now, the whole purpose of superannuation was so that people could live well in their retirement. But how can you live well in your retirement if you've got a mortgage? It's counterproductive. It's counterproductive. And the other thing, of course, is, and we can see this, we saw this in Greece and we're seeing this with the defined benefit schemes in the US now, is that it's actually a Ponzi scheme. And I'll explain why. Because for people like myself, my generation, we'll be the first generation with 40 years of superannuation. When 2030, 2035 comes around, we'll be able to pull out 40 years in one hit. Did you know what that means? We're going to need another 40 people coming behind my generation. For every person that takes out 40 years worth of super, you're going to need 40 people putting in 1 year's of super, worth of super, assuming that the contributions and withdrawals are the same per person, and I realise they're not, or otherwise withdrawals are going to start exceeding contributions. And you know what that's going to cause? That's going to cause a crash on the stock market. And that was actually discussed in COVID. They were jumping up and down about how if we allowed young people to access super, it would actually cause stock market prices to fall. Well, wait until you get the people from 1970 onwards with a full 40 years of superannuation savings ripping out that lump sum in superannuation.